Trends come and go, but friendships never go out of style.
This week on At the Movies with Ebert and Roeper, the Fabulous Four have reunited for Sex and the City, the movie.
Oh my God.
We gotta get out of here. Now open the door, and I just want you to run, okay?
Liv Tyler and Scott Speedman are tormented by the strangers.
You never seen Bear Style. Would you hit it?
How's that?
Plus, we've got an early review of Jack Black, Dustin Hoffman, and Angelina Jolie in Country Panda.
Awesome.
Give me a kiss goodnight. It's the last single girl kiss.
The ultimate single gal, Carrie Bradshaw, will be married to John James Preston come fall.
Should we get you a diamond?
No, just get me a really big closet.
Break out the Cosmos and the Manolo Blahniks. I'm Michael Phillips with the Chicago Tribune.
How about if I pop open a Schlitz and unlace my Nikes instead? In any case, I'm Richard Roeper. Now, at nearly 2.5 hours, the Sex and the City movie is the length of about 5 episodes of the TV show. That's a lot of time for Carrie and her friends to obsess about shoes, sex, and the Cinderella fantasy. Problem is, there's hardly a theme that wasn't already explored at some point on the show. We pick up the action 4 years after the show's last episode. Sarah Jessica Parker is the superficial but always likable Carrie Bradshaw, still dating one of my TV role models, Mr. Big, played by Chris Noth.
Welcome home, baby.
Can we afford this?
I got it.
Cynthia Nixon, Kim Cattrall, and Kristen Davis all slip comfortably into their roles as Miranda, Samantha, and Charlotte, respectively. Even though Samantha now lives in Hollywood and Miranda and Charlotte have families, the 4 of them are in constant contact.
How often do you guys have sex?
Sex.
Miranda, please. What? She's 3. She doesn't know what it means. I'm 41, and I still don't know what it means.
I know, but she is repeating everything.
If I'd known the Girl Talk was going to be on lockdown, I wouldn't have flown 3,000 miles.
The one notable addition to the cast is Oscar winner Jennifer Hudson as Carrie's new assistant. But it's a nothing role, and Hudson's line readings are flat and amateurish.
He wants me to meet him for drinks.
At 11:30? Oh, that's a booty call.
No, it's not. He's a waiter. He just got off work.
Louise, now I may not get texts, I may not send texts, but trust me, the subtext of that text, bootay.
Writer-director Michael Patrick King serves up plenty of tart one-liners, and the 4 main actresses, pick up where they left off. They do have great timing.
Can't you stop worrying for me and just go ahead and feel what I want you to feel? Jealous. Oh, jealous of me living in this gorgeous penthouse in Manhattan.
All right, I'm jealous.
Oh, thanks.
You live in real estate heaven, and I live in Brooklyn. New York Magazine said Brooklyn is the new Manhattan.
Oh.
Whoever wrote that lives in Brooklyn.
And of course, there's a lot of fashion and style porn. These women shriek orgasmically over dresses and shoes and overpriced handbags and, oh yeah, men as well. They also react to romantic setbacks as if people have died. Of course, heartbreak can be devastating, but watching Carrie go around and around with Big yet again is like listening to a late 1990s mixtape. We've heard it all before. Sex and the City was always a polarizing show. The writing and the acting were first-rate and the themes often provocative, but the superficiality was sometimes overwhelming. It's the same with the movie. Hardcore fans will probably love this reunion, but why get the band back together if you're not going to add some new songs to the greatest hits? So I gotta say, skip it.
I gotta say, pleasantly surprised, enough for me to recommend it. And I'm just a casual fan of the series. And the one thing I do miss from the film is that it's not as purely comedic as my favorite episodes of the series. And this one's definitely a more sentimental kind of, family reunion, 2.5-hour family reunion feel. But at the midpoint, just when I felt like I could go either way, everything started to kind of pay off a little bit emotionally. And it's mainly because of Sarah Jessica Parker, who I think is a continually underrated comedian and dramatic actress, and
Michael,
she pulls me through this thing.
She's terrific in this role, and there are certain scenes here which offered glimpses into what this movie could be.
Such as?
The New Year's Eve sequence, which a lot of it is just set to music, and I think it's beautifully filmed.
Yeah, one of the best
and we know these characters so well. I watched the show on and off over the years. We're obviously not the target audience, but I appreciated the fact that it was groundbreaking, that you had these 4 women characters, that the writing was good, the acting was good. So we'd see glimpses that we know these characters so well, and we have so much invested in them. So yeah, when Carrie's feeling pain, we feel the pain. When Miranda's having her problems, we can relate to it. But as I said, we saw these themes explored again and again on the show. You got a feature-length movie. You're going to go 2 hours and 20 minutes with it. You better give me more than what I can get by trotting out the DVD
I
collection.
agree. It would have been terrific surprise if Michael Patrick King had figured out a way to win over people who are brand new to the series and don't know their Cosmos, you know, from their Red books, for example. but I have to say, I'm again, you know, casual fan of the series, and I was pleasantly surprised how much I really gave a damn by the end.
And again, in 2 hours and 20 minutes, I agree with you. There should have been more comedy. Certainly, there's room for more laughs when you've got a bloated length like that. You're going to introduce a new character. You don't really give her anything to do.
Yeah.
If you have the time, you've got 4 years. You decide you're going to do a feature film. You get the original cast back together. You got the creator of the show. You've got the main writer, director. You've got everybody there, and they kind of go, well, you know what really worked in the show? Let's do that again. You know what also worked in the show? Let's do that again.
Everything you're saying is how I felt about Indy 4, Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. So in a way, I think that film plays directly to the base, and it's just for the fans. This film plays directly to the base, and it's just for the fans, and it just happens to be, a largely female / gay male / drag queen audience. And in fact, there's just enough in this crazy mix to appeal to the odd heterosexual male, So for me, a pleasant surprise.
I just can't wait for the 3-hour version of Will and Grace, the movie.
Good. Next movie. Julianne Moore is a first-rate actress, but this time she's stuck in a second-rate vehicle. She stars in Savage Grace, the true crime story about Barbara Baekeland, the heiress to the Bakelite plastics fortune. The movie begins in 1946 New York when she's just given birth to her son, Tony. Already, her husband, played by Stephen Delane, is 1 foot out the door, but years later, they're all still together, traveling the world unhappily, and here, Mommy and Daddy grill their sexually ambiguous son about a woman he's just met.
Oh, what's she like?
I don't know. She's Spanish.
Well, with a name like Blanca.
Blanca what?
I don't know, Blanca what. This is not a city, it's a port. So when we get together and we hang out, it's typically on a first-name basis.
That's Eddie Redmayne as Tony, who becomes his mother's caretaker, confidant, and crutch, and eventually her executioner. This is an intentionally suffocating tale of smother and mother love, but while it's not badly crafted, the director, Tom Kalin, doesn't really take any kind of point of view on the material. It's all very smooth and surfacey, but more in particular is after something deeper. The movie cannot keep up with her. Skip it, I say.
I'm with you exactly on this, Michael. I enjoy a good lurid tale and something like Reversal of Fortune.
You live it, man. You live
well,
that
maybe
kind of
so.
thing, yeah.
But in this case, you're absolutely right. From the very start, there's nothing appealing and a bigger crime, so to speak, cinematically interesting about these people. We get to know them right off the bat. You know exactly how this son is going to be played out, the character. Performances are good. I think the director has some talent, but it's kind of a nothing tale. And as you say, no real point of view, no investment on our part, and it just drags on and becomes more and more depressing.
I kept thinking of things like Reversal of Fortune or the Scarsdale Diet Murder movie that was made for television with Annette Bening and Ben Kingsley. Those had very kind of a sly black comic edge, and that's what this thing
has no edge whatsoever.
It needs that kind of, but it didn't get it.
All right.
Later in the show, it's one of the most anticipated movies of the summer, and we've got the early review. It's Kung Fu Panda.
And next, Liv Tyler and Scott Speedman get a terrifying knock on the door in The Strangers.
Why are you doing this to us?
Because you were home.
Don't let the attractive cast, the slick look, or the inspired by true events nonsense mislead you. The Strangers is a despicable and mean-spirited practical joke, and the joke's on anyone that pays to see this film. Liv Tyler and Scott Speedman do some nice work despite the material. They play a young couple spending the night at his family's vacation home after a friend's wedding. Deep into the night, there's a disturbing knock on the door, and before you know it, Tyler is in the Jamie Lee Curtis, Drew Barrymore mode. So who are the strangers? Well, it turns out there are a couple of girls in creepy masks and a guy with a breathing problem and a bag over his head. Speedman, I'm not kidding. Speedman's got a shotgun and plenty of shells, yet the intruders maintain the upper hand throughout.
Get out the car.
I'll grudgingly admit The Strangers is a well-made film. The opening and closing sequences are effectively eerie and creepy. But don't tell us a film is inspired by true events when it's simply not true. You don't get to play Fargo with a movie like this. It's just a sign you're going to jerk the audience around, which is exactly what happens here as we're subjected to nearly every horror movie cliche in the book. And then we get an ugly, brutal ending with not even a hint as to who the killers were, the why, the what. We get none of that. Skip this one. Bad movie.
You're a resolution man. You got to have that resolution. I will more than grudgingly admit it's a well-made film. It's to me a very pleasant surprise, and it's not even
pleasant surprise.
Look, it's certainly
that's what you're going to call this movie.
It's certainly the most heartwarming film I've ever seen set in New Jersey. You know, coming off The Sopranos, but no, I got to say, it took me back to the '70s. It's like that first Halloween picture. Not as good as the first Halloween, but it's got that totally spare, stripped-down premise. And hold on, this comes out of a kind of a great old tradition of the old Dark House movie, where you have almost nothing in terms of plot. Now, if you're a plot man, yes, you're going to be frustrated. You know, but I thought the idea of just having these three creepy specters pop up in odd places, it's a little like playing whack-a-mole with specters.
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't get that kind of Charnel House yich reaction that I did with Hostel, with the Saw pictures. This is much better than that.
I think it's torture porn just dressed up, in better clothing, so we can get to the ending where it gets bloody. We're just getting jerked around too much.
No, but I would say this to me feels like a nice, pleasant retro throwback to before. It's before all the Scream movies came along to kind of like to twist the whole horror genre inside out and make jokes about it. This is actually kind of a good, mean, lean picture.
You're a sick dude. Well, all right, coming up next, Angelina Jolie stars in something she can take the kids to, and if she takes all the kids, Kung Fu Panda will be the biggest box office smash ever.
It is said that the dragon warrior can survive for months at a time on nothing but the dew of a single ginkgo leaf and the energy of the universe.
I guess my body doesn't know it's the dragon warrior yet. I'm gonna need a lot more than dew and universe juice.
Kung Fu Panda, listen to it. Some titles just sound like money. And with Jack Black as the voice of Po, the furry galoot who dreams of martial arts glory, you've got the Nickelodeon crowd primed and ready for a good time. Well, you know what? Kung Fu Panda is a really good time. It opens next week, and this is an early review. Here's the setup. Ancient China. Po works in his dad's noodle shop. On the day the kingdom is to select a new dragon warrior, the panda accidentally launches himself into history.
The universe has brought us the Dragon Warrior.
What?
What?
Master Uguay, wait. That flabby panda can't possibly be the answer to our problem. You were about to point at Tigress and that thing fell in front of her. That was just an accident.
There are no accidents.
Reluctantly, martial arts master Shifu, voiced by Dustin Hoffman, takes Po as his charge, and the panda is starstruck.
Step forth. The true path to victory is to find your opponent's weakness and make him suffer for it. Oh, yeah! To take his strength and use it against him until he finally falls or quits.
But a real warrior never quits. Don't worry, Master. I will never quit.
Once Po gets to meet his idols, the martial arts team known as the Furious Five, he's hooked. Here, one of the five, voiced by Angelina Jolie, confronts a snow leopard bent on revenge.
Where's the Dragon Warrior?
How do you know you're not looking at her?
You think I'm a fool? I know you're not the Dragon Warrior. None of you! I heard how he fell out of the sky on a ball of fire. That he's a warrior, unlike anything the world has ever seen.
Recognize that leopard's voice? That's Ian McShane from Deadwood. Everything about Kung Fu Panda transcends the run-of-the-mill. The voice cast, the animation, the CinemaScope format, it all lends a kind of epic aura to a very simple story of wish fulfillment and teamwork. And if you're a fan of martial arts classics, you're going to get a kick out of the visual references and the battle sequences. They borrow from Bruce Lee, Stephen Chow, and Jackie Chan, who voices one of the Furious Five. But it's not just inside baseball or inside Kung Fu. Kung Fu Panda is an exuberant kick. It's one of the best times I've had at the movies so far this year, so I say see it. I was very happy with it.
Yeah, I had a great time as well, Michael. Everything you say is so true. I agree with you. Yeah, the story's very familiar, but that's okay. That, that sort of find the hero within. It's sort of a standard animated tale, but they have so much fun here. The voice work is amazing. Ian McShane and Dustin Hoffman in particular have such fun spinning their lines and not just doing, I'm doing a cartoon character. You can tell they're taking this in its own way, comedically and seriously as they would if they were doing any kind of other movie role, and I like that.
And here's the other thing I loved about it. All the jokes in the script are actually in the same film. This is not one of those films like Shark Tale, like some of the lesser Shrek sequels where they're just sort of riffing on everything from Taxi Driver to Reservoir Dogs.
It's a self-contained universe, even if it's a universe in which a panda can talk and do kung fu. That's okay because it's true to itself. This is definitely one of those films for parents. You know, the kids are going to love it, and then it's going to have a permanent place, you know, in the DVD collection next to the Pixar classics. It's that good. It's that entertaining.
And I think, look, it's one of the few in any genre, animated or not. This is one of the few comedies to come out of Hollywood in 2008 that really knows what it's doing. You know what I mean? It's got a simple story told well. It's got visual panache, and it's a delight.
Yeah, you know, certain sequences like when he's first learning from the master as that kind of Karate Kid-esque thing. I mean, the choreography, the animation is really top-notch there.
Right.
Good
How do they do that? How do they float through the air in slow motion in animation? It's
well,
a miracle.
they have to train for a long time. Now, I've got another martial arts movie for you, and you know, some titles don't scream money. This movie stinks. It's called The Foot Fist Way, and it's a cheap little comedy with basically one joke, a lead character who is a Hall of Fame tool and doesn't know it. The problem here, though, is he's such a relentless, obnoxious, mean-spirited jerk that there's no room to care about him when he faces off against an even bigger ass. Danny McBride, he's a funny guy, but he wears out his welcome as Fred, a strip mall martial arts instructor.
What you gonna do? What you gonna do, huh? Huh? You gonna do something? Huh? Huh? What's up? Illegal contact! It's illegal contact!
No, it wasn't.
The Foot Fist Way has been something of a viral hit for a couple of years. Will Ferrell liked it so much his company picked up the distribution rights, and one can see why, as Ferrell himself has often played clueless, pompous oafs. But there's usually some redeeming quality to Ferrell's comic creations, whereas Fred is just too creepy to be consistently funny. A few laughs here and there, a lot of tedious material. Skip it.
Didn't see any laughs myself. A few laughs, he's a funny guy.
Maybe
none of it's true. This thing lays there like a lox, and it's just, to me, it may be a viral hit, but it doesn't say much for the internet.
Hey, I'm told people at Sundance a couple of years ago love this movie. I don't know, maybe those people at the altitude might have gotten to
4 a.m. screening must have been. You'd love one of these micro-budget comedies to really take off.
Yeah,
this is not.
We're always looking for the next Napoleon Dynamite. This ain't it. Okay, coming up next. I know what you're thinking. Does the new Dirty Harry box set have 6 DVDs or only 5? That's in our video segment.
6 shots.
Thank you, Rich Little. And next week, Richard Roeper and I will reveal our picks for the best movies of the year so far.
I did not know that.
Are you gonna jump for what?
I'll jump!
This is fine. He's not doing anything.
Jackie, move!
Okay, looking at movies new on DVD, we agreed that you can skip Will Ferrell in Semi-Pro. We both say see Flawless, and Michael, I know you haven't seen this one, but I am recommending Vince Vaughn's Wild West comedy show, some funny stuff there. And my pick this week is the Dirty Harry Ultimate Collector's Edition. In addition to kind of silly stuff like this badge, you also get all the Dirty Harry movies, of course, and some great new special features, including a fascinating documentary in which Clint Eastwood and others talk about some of those famous catchphrases.
Go ahead. Make my day.
I guess it's better to have said it than to not have.
There are a lot of fascinating anecdotes here, Michael. I learned, for example, that Frank Sinatra was originally cast here, but he had an injured hand and he couldn't even wield the .44 Magnum effectively, so they recast the film.
It'd be like make my broad instead of make my day.
Make my day, baby. You know.
Okay, my DVD pick is called Control, and even if you don't know anything about the English band Joy Division or its ill-fated lead singer, Ian Curtis, it's well worth your time. You can tell the director, Anton Corbijn, was a photographer before he was a film director. Very distinctive look. Sam Riley is Curtis, Samantha Morton, who plays Curtis's wife. They're both excellent, and there's a choice supporting performance from Toby Kebbell as a born manager of talent destined to tear itself apart.
Yeah, it's a good film. So the Dirty Harry Ultimate Collector's Edition and Control will be available on Tuesday.
And we'll be back with my picks for 3 to see, the best 3 movies in theaters right after this.
Closed captioning for Ebert and Roeper is sponsored by...
Okay, recapping the movies in this week's show. We split on Sex and the City. We both say skip Savage Grace. We split again on The Strangers. We both say see it for Kung Fu Panda. And 2 skip-its for The Foot Fist Way.
Skip It isn't strong enough for Foot Fist Way. I don't say, even with 10 free Taekwondo lessons, don't see that film. All right. And now, Out of all the movies in theaters right now, here are my 3 to see. Number 3, The Strangers, modest but scary. Number two, Sex and the City, sentimental but satisfying for the intelligent male. Number 1, Iron Man, still the blockbuster to beat in 2008. And that film was word of mouth. It made just a ton of money.
Iron Man,
yeah. And that film it's a gratifying hit. You know?
It's a standard for the rest of the superhero movies. For example, the Incredible Hulk film that we're getting soon to live up to. I liked your menu readings of the satisfying and this and that for those other 2 films. I disagree with you, though. I think Sex and the City is going to do well. Obviously, the fans are going to rush out to see it. I just think they could have done more with it. Disappointing.
Yeah, that's how I felt about Indy
I'm not
4.
asking them to do another Sex and the City movie, though. Enough is enough.
All right, there you
All right. For a link to my latest book, Debunked, go to atthemoviestv.com. That's it for this week. Until next week, the balcony is closed.
What's in here is what's in here. Real strawberries, fresh cream, Breyer's all natural, extraordinary taste.
Nice finger. A wart could get used to this.
Did it get cold? Dr. Scholl's Freeze Away removes warts fast with as little as 1 treatment.
You'll miss me.
Dr. Scholl's Freeze Away.
While I'm gone, no junk food.
Real cheese? Shopping's easy.
Tasty Hot Pockets brand sandwiches. You'll love them. So will your kids.
Hot Pockets.
Irritating skin itch? Get Gold Bond Anti-Itch Cream. It helps stop itches fast with 2 strong medicines. Got an itch? Gold Bond Cream, the quick fix for almost every itch.